So I've got a new addition to my practice board that I'd like to share with you. Here's the board as it looks today. As you can see, I've done a little organizing. It's not quite as chaotic as the last time we saw it. And I want to focus on this constellation right here. This is the beta version of my new etude rotation. So up here we have all the different trumpets that I would use for the etude. Over here are a few different styles of etudes. Just to the right of that, we have a selection of etude books that I will continue to add to. And finally, we have a whole host of different transpositions in which I might read the etude. So what I might do on a given day is look up here and see, okay, I'm set to play a piccolo today. I should pick a slow etude, probably something lyrical. I will choose my etude from the Burma book, and hopefully the etude is not too high because I will play it on piccolo in F. Then at the end of my practice session, I'll take that top card and push it all the way down to the bottom so that tomorrow there is a new card on top. So this system is a work in progress, which I will definitely be evolving over time. For example, it might be redundant to have a style group and an etude book group, since so many etude books are already completely written in one style or another. I might have to make some exceptions here and there. For example, I might only play a little bit of a Burma etude in F on piccolo. Maybe I don't rotate the cards daily. Maybe I do that once a week. Or maybe I will have shed this system in a month's time. Maybe it doesn't work well. The point is not to create some strict regiment. The point is to not get stuck in a rut in my practice and to constantly explore the fringes of my playing. So I just tried something kind of goofy while I was practicing, but I want to share it because it was kind of fun. I've been exploring ways of unlocking my airflow so that my sound can be more singing, more vocal, and more natural. I find that the tension in my playing becomes most noticeable when I'm moving around the trumpet a lot, testing the flexibility of my voice on the trumpet. So the first thing I tried was using a long tone to unlock my air before going into an exercise. But then out of nowhere, I had a weird idea. What if I try singing while I play this long tone, creating a multiphonic sound, which in order to generate, I have to be using a lot of air, and I can't be super tense. My air really has to let go in order to create this wacky sound. Then I just hold on to the sound of that unlocked free air for the duration of whatever exercise I want to do next. So, an unorthodox way to practice fundamentals? Definitely. Will I use it again tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I don't plan to redesign all of trumpet playing around multiphonics, but every now and then it can be fun to throw a weird curveball into my usual routine and see what I learn. More unlocked air, baby! So I've been playing more with this unlocked air idea, and I discovered something when I was just doing some breath patterns. I noticed that the sound of the air was changing drastically between when I was just normally blowing and when I made the conscious choice to release all the muscles and machinery going on down here. Like so. It's particularly useful for low and articulate passages. Here's the old way I might do it. Notes don't always center, the tone quality's kind of dead. So now here is the new version with this unlocked air that I've been practicing. I'd like to share a couple of systems that I used to use to organize my practice. I haven't used these in about 2 or 3 years, but they helped me lay a foundation off of which I continued to grow and try new things in my practice. First off is this 2-page spread that's based off of Ray Mace's 10-week trumpet routine. I've got everything divided up into specific categories that maybe line up with a specific book or a particular technique in my playing. These shapes with numbers in them act like a kind of index, referring to pages in this little booklet in the back here, with corresponding page numbers and shapes to indicate specific exercises that I really liked for that particular category. And back in the journal, I've got this habit tracker here in which I identify all the categories and which days I touched on them. Some days I obviously got lazy and either didn't record it or didn't practice at all, hopefully the former. And a couple weeks later I would move on to a new spread with new exercises, all the same categories, but with new notes and ideas on what I wanted to do with them. I used this method for a number of months, but then I discovered another method described by Bob Reynolds, saxophonist of Snarky Puppy. So over here, I have the basic warm-up that I was doing every morning, and over here in this pyramid, I have divided my playing up into 7 T's. Tone, time, technique, tri and tetrachords, theory, transcription, and finally, tune. You'll notice I still have these little shapes with numbers in them, referring to the exercises I was writing in my little notebook. The tune at the top of the pyramid was the etude or excerpt or solo that I happened to be working on that week. And everything below it on the pyramid I would plan and design to help me improve at the tune. If my tone quality wasn't good in this etude, then I would have to focus more on the tone bedrock of the pyramid. If my flexibility and response wasn't good, I would have to focus more on the technique category or maybe the time and synchronization block of the pyramid. I also tried a variety of other systems that didn't quite stick. Here's a kind of goofy one. I think I was trying to create some sort of hierarchy, like the stuff in the middle was the most important. I guess it was kind of like the pyramid. The important thing for me as I was iterating was that I didn't lock myself into any one way of doing things. I was changing as a person, and what I needed from my organization habits was also changing. My handwriting these days, for example, is not a size 8 single-spaced font the way it was in that journal, because it's not helpful to me anymore. But back in 2016 and 2017, it was helpful. That's the sort of mindset that for me guides organization. What needs to happen, what do I need, and what am I going to do about it? So let's see what I've got up for my etude rotation today. So here's my etude board that I shared a few days ago. Up here we'll see that I am playing on rotary C trumpet today. My goal is to play some kind of fast music, and I'll choose an etude from the Concone book. And lastly, I will be reading the etude in A flat. So right off the bat, there's a bit of a catch. I'm supposed to work on some kind of fast music, but the Concone book is filled with all these lyrical, lush, slow songs. Not exactly fast or technically difficult pieces. But there's a bit of a creative challenge in this. Can I take one of these Concone pieces and turn it into a test of my fast playing? The answer is yes. What I'm going to do is actually quite simple. I've got this piece up, and I'm going to take this long singing passage, and I'm going to subdivide it up into a series of rapid running 16th notes, like digga 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 dee digga 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 dee. I'll practice it once long and singing as written, and then I will play it with all the fast notes added in, with the goal being that I want to take this leggero vocal sound of the first version into the lithe agility of the second version. If if I really want to mix it up, I can start adding some moving notes and turn it into a bit of a cornet solo. Sometimes the hardest thing to do as a busy musician, at least for me, is slowing down. There's like 5,000 things to keep track of. There's like, I gotta contact so-and-so, and I gotta do this email, and I've gotta fill out my invoice for this, and I've gotta like make a video, and I need to practice, but next week we've got this other piece that I've gotta practice, and I can make lists and try to manage everything, and I've got my bullet journal, which helps me manage a lot of these things. But at the end of the day, or I guess at the beginning of the day in today's case, no matter how many lists I make or schedules I block out or however I really construct it in my mind so that I can get a grip on everything, it still feels like the hardest thing in the world is to admit to myself that the best thing I can do right now, at least to start, is stop thinking. It's like I've got a bottle of muddy water and I'm trying to make the water clear, but I keep doing this. When in fact, the fastest way to make the water clear again is to set the bottle down and wait. I've found this to be true, at least for me, before big performances or auditions. But somehow it's still difficult to remember that in the heat of the day when I'm just doing mundane chores or checking off one thing at a time off my to-do list. It's simple, but man, it's hard. Talking about it makes it seem a little easier. So I'm about to go play a concert, and something I'm reflecting on before I play is vulnerability. I find it very tempting to have all these techniques and strategies and things that I'm thinking about, either when I'm playing or when I'm waiting to play, that'll help me cover up any weaknesses in my playing, or like play my best at all times. Like I can think of all these tricky little passages that have been a pain during rehearsals, and during this performance I want to play in such a way that doesn't even remotely suggest that this was difficult for me. But there's something in that perspective, some sort of defensiveness, like I'm putting on armor to go into battle. But putting on armor is not something that I would do if I was about to have an open, intimate conversation with a good friend, or if I wanted to get to know somebody better. I wouldn't go into that conversation being really protective and defensive. I would try to be open and generous. I'd want to feel safe to share what I was thinking and how I felt about things, and I'd want to hear how they felt. And I think that especially means sharing what you're scared of. It doesn't mean that I'm going to step out on stage tonight and go, yeah, everybody, this passage here, this one scares me. But I think that people can pick up on the subtext. They know the difference between someone trying to sell them something that they don't believe in and someone who's being honest and genuinely open. And sure, we're musicians. We talk about selling our performance all the time, but what are people going to be more willing to buy? The person who's going, hey, you like this? Hey, check it out. Or the person who just tells it like it is.